was like, geez, you can't just like go up to the rider and say, "Oh, I got pocket change. I'm gonna buy this now." It was like, all right, I'm gonna focus these next like 100 quests just on saving money up for a mount and things like that. And it wasn't just, I don't know, it feels like the accomplishment of getting a mount is lost. And I feel if they're gonna keep mounts like this, they need something else that's more accomplished based. Like, okay, that player is good. He manages his money. He's good at this game. You sort of follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you mean. It was more of like an accomplishment and kind of a status symbol to be able to afford high level mounts back in the old day, whereas now it's everybody has them. You're weird if you don't.
Exactly.
All right, so I have another question for you, and this is actually something I asked you earlier, but that was before we started recording this video, so I'm going to throw it back at you again just so we can get your answer recorded here. Just bumped my mic there. I don't know if I made a loud noise, sorry. But anyway, if you had just started playing the game now, and so you didn't have that sense of, back when I played, I had to work really hard for this, I had to put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money into it, and it's frustrating now to see that being given away for free. Or more or less for free. It's pretty much just handed to players at this point in the game. If you didn't have that kind of sense of frustration from the discrepancy that exists, and you had just started playing today, do you think that you would have that same view towards the mount system as it is, or do you think you would just kind of accept it for what it is right now?
hmm Um, I feel like it's kind of a mixed question there. I think there's kind of two parts to that. I wouldn't really question the level because I mean it's just okay, you get a level 20 mount, that's kind of what you get. I would question the prices though. Um, like you said, it's just kind of a giveaway at this point. I feel like you have other abilities to get around a mount at level 20 isn't really necessary to the game. It's not, it's, yes, it's convenient and it's nice, but I think the convenience, it feels better popping up that mount when you know you worked for it. You see, so I feel like, yes, the levels, I don't have a huge problem with the levels. Yes, you can be like, oh, geez, I had to get level 40 for that, and you guys can just come in here and with a day's worth of grinding, you can
Yeah.
get your first mount.
I was on my
But
first mount before my trial account even expired.
exactly. So, I feel like I question the prices of the mounts more.
Alright. Now, one other thing that I also know we brought up beforehand is completely removing ourselves from the game mechanics for a minute and looking more at Blizzard as a company. Blizzard's goal is to get as many players as possible and to make money off that. Obviously, that's the goal of pretty much every company. They want to make money. And I heard an alarming statistic once that said, I want to say it was almost 90% of players that end up quitting WoW quit before they reach level 10. And so, as you can see, players quitting early on is a problem within the game, and obviously Blizzard's going to look for ways to remedy that. And one of the ways that they might be trying to remedy that with this is saying, oh, there's a lot of boring running around early on in the game. We're going to try to make it a little more accessible, a little easier from the get-go to rope players in a little bit more. So I think that probably
hmm
plays a role on some level, just Blizzard wanting to try to combat that huge statistic of players quitting early on.
Right. I feel like that's a obviously a really good point to bring up, and it's sort of they you back in the day it was like, okay, well, this is an extremely good thing, and I agree with you. Blizzard would have looked at this and said, all right, well, getting this mount is a big accomplishment, so if we lower the level, then they can get this big accomplishment at a lower level. And I think to a certain degree it's worked. Like looking at that as a low level player, you say, oh, it's only at level 20, I can get that. I mean, if I just work hard. But level 40 just seems so out there as like a level 15 character like yourself. So it's like, oh man, level 40. But I feel like it lost sort of that accomplishment part of it. So it was kind of a win-loss as I see it.
Alright. So, if you could just, like, summarize basically, what's your opinion of this, like, really briefly?
All
What
right.
would you say?
In a nutshell, I would say I agree with the fact that they lowered the leveling of it, and you have to be less level. I don't agree with the prices, and I feel like it kind of takes you away from the beauty of the game, where running around, you find different passages and you look at the neat things and you sort of get sidetracked. Where if you're just kind of like running on that path, you kind of just forget the beauty of the game.
Okay, you mentioned getting sidetracked, and that's actually an interesting thing to get into. Do you think that might have been part of the inspiration behind doing this, is to try to kind of avoid that sidetracking a little bit, try to help players stay focused on their main goal? Do you think that might have had any hand in it?
I think it's more or less just kind of a consequence that you get from having a mount. You're just moving faster, so it's just a lot easier to get there. So, and you get there quicker, so you have less time to forget about what you were doing and kind of see. I don't think it was a bad thing to get sidetracked in a certain degree. I think it added more detail to the game, and it made the game fun for at least when I was leveling. It was nice to find a cave and go see what was in it and kind of get some dialogue and different things like that. So I feel like, yes, it makes it a lot easier for a player to get into the game and level up quickly and get to the really exciting stuff, which is at the higher levels. But it kind of ruins the lower levels to a certain degree. It doesn't feel as important leveling up.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of gets into the divide between gamers. If there are some people in the game who are going to stop and smell the flowers, if you will, who are here to just kind of enjoy the immersion, to take it in at a certain pace. And I think the casual players are more predominant in that group. They make up the large percentage of the players that are just kind of playing to relax a little bit. And then you have the hardcore gamers, as I also mentioned earlier. And again, I'm not saying casual and hardcore specifically apply strictly to these two terms. There's certainly going to be some overlap both ways, but I think they're mainly these two groups. So you have the mainly hardcore players who are going to be more focused on just getting through the content, trying to get through the quest lines, get the experience, get the items, get the levels, all that kind of thing.
Right.
So I guess it really kind of plays into the division of players and exactly what a player is looking for when they pick up this game.
I 100% agree with that. I think it really kind of divides what type of player you are. And I mean, there's obviously some benefits to it. And again, like you said, the daisy pickers have sort of a disadvantage to this.
I mean, yeah, disadvantage and advantage are totally subjective terms, of course, here.
Right.
Or objective. I get the use of those words confused all the time, but it's a relative term. I mean, what do you blah, blah. I can't talk at all today. I apologize for this. What do you qualify as enjoyment? Some people might say that the casual players who are just running around enjoying the landscapes get more enjoyment than somebody who's completely focused on getting through a quest or a dungeon. So it all plays into really your personal opinion of the game and just what you have fun doing. So, yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up everything I have to say on this issue, unless there's anything else that you just have a burning desire to add in here.
No, I think that pretty much wraps up all the point. I don't want to rant too much on this subject. So, I mean, again, like we said, we brought up some advantages and some disadvantages. Whether you view some of them as advantages or disadvantages, it's completely up to you. And if you guys have any comments or things you would have brought up in this conversation, we can always add on to this or things like that, but just leave it in the comments below.
Yeah, we're definitely interested to hear what you guys have to say, because, I mean, as you know, this is a thing that players are widely divided on in terms of opinion. People have a lot of different thoughts on this. So if you have something that you really want to say, if you have a good point, or perhaps even if you completely disagree with something we said here, just let us know in the comments section. And if there's anything actually particularly interesting or insightful that's said down there, we might bring that up and respond to that in a later video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This has been Divide by Zero Gaming. I am NS, and Hugh is
I am Hugh.
Yes, he just waved to you guys there. Alright, and by the way, if you haven't checked out our main channels, definitely do that. It's youtube.com/nefersifet and youtube.com/HughStarcraft. I'll throw some little annotations on here right now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you guys next time.